So for decades, you had a 2-car garage, an M5 for your daily duties, and of course, the weekend solo drives where you could just let loose, hit the gas, have some fun, right? And then a Defender for your off-road adventures. But things have changed. Gas has got so incredibly expensive. Not only that, but the M5 has turned into a bloated 5,400 pound hybrid. You need to consolidate into one vehicle, and that might be the 2026 Defender OCTA. The numbers would suggest that it is equally as unhinged as a Ford Raptor R, but a little bit more tame out on the street. I'm not convinced that easily, so let's go for a drive. The reason why we're consolidating into the Defender OCTA, or I'm presenting this as an option, is because under the hood, producing that 626 horsepower, absolutely ridiculous, is a 4.4 liter twin turbo BMW V8. The same one that you'd find in an X5M competition or the new M5. Let me put it this way. The Defender OCTA is trying to take both worlds that Land Rover plays in, the Defender being the utmost expression of their off-road capability as a brand, and then on the other side, the Range Rover being the most comfortable on the street, and blending those two worlds, right? And here I am thinking about the 911 Dakar. If Porsche can get away with bringing out that car, Lamborghini comes out with the Strato, everybody goes nuts. Why can't Land Rover come out with this, the Defender OCTA, and take the off-road capabilities, crank that up to 10, but then take what they know about on-road performance and also crank that to 10. Both sides of the spectrum here. Mathematically, my brain is just, this does not compute, this shouldn't work. The OCTA is not just a lifted suspension. It is that. This is 1.1 inches taller, it's 2.7 inches wider. Not only is it that, but it's also an entirely new suspension setup. The whole goal with the Defender OCTA is to do something similar to what the Raptor and Raptor R does, the TRX, which is just high-speed Baja, kind of speed running the outside world. You know, you have an open expanse, you want to take advantage of it. That's what it's meant to do, while still, as hopefully we'll find out later in the video, being totally competent at the lower speed, rock crawling, and high articulation scenarios. And that's really the best of both worlds off-road, and then on-road here, the 6D Dynamics suspension just ties it all together. So these dampers are hydraulically linked diagonally and will react as quickly as humanly possible to whatever's going on with your inputs. However crazy you decide to get, it's going to try and keep this as planted and stuck to the ground as it can. The goal here is to reduce pitch, roll, and dive. It's so composed. It defies the 5,975 pound curb weight when you hit the throttle. There is still, obviously, pitch, roll, a bit of dive, but compared to the equally heavy Raptor R I drove, which was just all over the road in a good way. It was playful, it was loose, but it's incredible. It's actually kind of a weird sensation to have a vehicle that weighs this much and to be sitting this high on the road, and then to have the body roll not exactly match what you've spent your entire life feeling if you've ever driven another vehicle of this size. And the benefit of this, as hopefully we'll find out in a second off-road, is that this Defender does not have anti-roll bars, and it still has air suspension. So we can lower the vehicle to kind of an entry-exit level. Right now, I'm just in the standard ride height, or we can raise it up for an off-road ride height. It also gets a quicker steering rack. If this did not have this trick suspension setup, it would be a very dangerous situation, straight up. If you made one wrong little movement in the steering rack, which is super quick, the whole body would just be out of control. But because this has that hydraulic suspension setup, it's not. It actually behaves like a much smaller vehicle. It feels like a much smaller and lighter vehicle on the road. I don't feel like I should be able to push it as hard as I am. This one's been fitted with 33-inch all-terrain tires, so those do not help. It is stupid fast. Just ridiculously fast. It's got an 8-speed auto, ZF auto. Peak torque is way down there below 2,000 RPM, and then it revs just past 7,000 RPM. So you can be at any RPM, it does not care. The Defender gives 0 Fs about where you are, what you're doing. If you ask for torque, if you ask for power, if you ask for a shift with the paddles, it's giving it to you. Stupid fast. Stupid. It's 4-wheel drive, of course. 2-speed transfer case. You hit the Octa button and that changes between our auto terrain select mode, and that just allows the Defender to choose what's best. It will keep the center diff unlocked or locked. It'll lock the rear diff, unlock it, and just decide where the torque needs to be sent. Or if I click it once, we get dynamic mode, which I can customize. But if I hold it, that gets me in to Octa mode, which specifically is high speed off-roading. So Car and Driver tested the Octa 0 to 60, and it came out to 3.8 seconds. And that's with the rollout at the drag strip, so about 4 seconds. We'll see what we can do here. 554 pound-feet of torque, 590 in overboost. Oh my. So ridiculous. It'll do the quarter mile in 12.2 seconds at 114 miles an hour. This engine, as great as it is, as competent as it is, the 5-liter from Jag, that supercharged 5-liter that I drove in the F-Pace SVR, and that is in the Defender V8, just sounds better. It's got more character, it's louder, it's shoutier, and I get that this is trying to be a luxury daily driver at the same time, so it's trying to be a little bit more isolated, but come on. Unapologetic sound, whereas here, yeah, we get, a few crackles on the overrun like there, but it's mostly your neighbors that are gonna hear it. It's so quiet in here, you barely hear it. It's so comfortable. For the most part, this is of course a unibody. It's not a proper body on frame. And I still do feel every little thing in the road, but all the big bumps get sorted out super quick. And the whole body, the body control is insane. It just settles super quickly. So we get bigger rotors here, big 6-piston Brembos up there. The brake pedal feels amazing. Around the city, the top of the pedal is exactly what you'd expect from a luxury vehicle. The gas pedal too, super consistent, but when you get deep in the brakes, they just firm up and then you get real modulation. And I was afraid that it would just fall apart when I began pushing it, but that's not the case. If I were on the marketing team, I'd just tell you the best way to cool off those big old Brembos would be to venture up to 1 meter underwater. Oh, but the legal team says your small passengers might want snorkels, just in case. New bumpers with increased approach, departure, and breakover angles are expected, as well as those recovery hooks. All right, the color is Sargasso blue, if you guys were wondering. In the shadows, really cool. It almost looks black at night especially, and then as you guys can see here, in the sun, the flake is ridiculous. This one, of course, has been spec'd with the 33s, like I mentioned, but you are able to spec slightly bigger wheels and all-season tires. The Defender is almost 10 inches narrower than an F-150 Raptor R, even with the wider fender. So It's big, don't get me wrong, it's a massive SUV, but so much easier than I expected to drive on a daily basis. I just love how even though you have this massive wide body, the presence of this thing is just ridiculous. It's not as crazy as it could have been. Land Rover could have stuck a big snorkel up there. Of course, you can spec some other Defender 110 models with the ladder and a few accessories, which look pretty cool. But as far as top of the line off-road halo SUVs go, it's pretty subtle, and I like that. Coming around back, we do have the OCTA logo on the side here, which a friend told me yesterday that this reminds them of a Minions logo from the Minions movie, I guess. I looked it up and I can't unsee it. So you guys let me know if you agree or not. And then we get the full exposed spare wheel and tire back here, just unreal. Another change for 2026 is the taillights here, as you can see, are flush completely versus last year for the model 2025. It was slightly pushed in like a concave shape. I kind of like the old design better, but this is a bit cleaner. And then of course, electronic door release here, easy enough to use. We've got a bunch of storage in here. One thing though, with the entry space you have here, it's a little bit thinner, not as wide as some other SUVs. It's a lot closer to, let's say, a GX550 in its load capacity. You can see here, this is a really chunky bit here. So once you're inside though, massive amounts of storage space. The headroom, especially in the second row, is key here. And I love these side windows. That's super cool. Older Land Rovers had those, or Defenders, sorry, had those as well. Just really good storage overall. Not quite as big as some of the competitors if you're going for all out luggage space. But so a couple things. The air suspension does allow you to raise and lower the back here to make it easier to put cargo in and out. But one huge missing feature here, you guys, that for a lot less money in some of the other, not even competitors, would have is an onboard air compressor for off-roading. That's a huge miss. I don't know how or why Land Rover decided not to include that in their top spec Defender, but that is a huge disappointment. But second row seating has a lot of room. The seats are great, and you get full climate control and heated seats. The interior. These seats are exclusive to the Octave. You can spec leather at no additional cost, semi-aniline leather, but this is a synthetic material that'll be easier to clean. The seats are amazing, super comfortable. The rest of the interior is awesome. I think Land Rover does such a good job in just creating a space that feels unique and special. They've made the Defender brand into its own thing, and that's overwhelmingly what I'm getting here. So all the materials, I mean, half these materials I've never felt in a vehicle before, which is really cool. Everything's soft touch, and then down here near the gear selector, you just have a kind of a grippy, industrial feeling surface, and of course all the exposed screws there. And then we have body and soul. So we get to choose our wellness program. That's fun, and it'll play kind of a meditation soundtrack, and then the seats vibrate. I've got to turn that off. You can either do that, or you can have the seats vibrate to your own music. I would have rather just had a massage seat. Physical climate controls, and of course controls for that air suspension. All Land Rover Defenders now get a off-road radar cruise control setup, which is pretty cool. This screen also is new for this model year. All Defenders get this, 13.1 inches. It's quick, it's easy to use, and the cameras are awesome. The Raptor had better feeling metal paddles, but the center screen, easy to look at, super minimalist, infinitely customizable. It does kind of suck that it takes a while to choose the display layout. It's like 6 clicks away, but I can get a full Google map or phone integrated map. I do wish I lived closer to, I don't know, a desert, some kind of Baja scenario, but up here in the Pacific Northwest, this is what we get. We get gravel and rocks and some other good mud spots, but I'm alone. I'm not looking to get the Defender stuck. Not that I think it would get stuck, but you never know. This is the most rigid feeling by far unibody vehicle I've ever driven. And that was Land Rover's goal, of course, with this chassis from the get-go, from the jump. But I mean, everything, every little thing comes through the steering. Oh yeah, all right, she'll play. Compared to the pavement where it was super composed, the whole vehicle's transformed. The suspension's got super loose. And you can tell it's just allowing a lot more articulation, a lot more movement. We do have a custom off-road mode, a terrain mode too. So you can decide whether when you select that mode, what diffs you have locked, how light you want the steering, all that kind of stuff. But let's see how good the articulation is. I mean, it's doing it. Zero drama so far. And I love that I can see the shocks and how close they are to the bump stops. That's pretty cool. So it gives you an idea of how much travel you have left. And immediately, when I got up on 3 wheels there for a second, I could feel it. And this smooth throttle calibration that I was talking about on the street translates perfectly off-road. All right, there she is. Easy, so easy. That gives you a good idea of the kind of articulation you can expect from the Octa. I've had a number of vehicles, SUVs, that had an off-road package on them that failed this test. We've still got all 4 wheels on the ground. Easy, it was super smooth. I did not even lock the diffs. I just let it do its thing. And that was kind of, in my experience, the best way to go about doing this. At $177,000 Canadian or 158,000 USD starting, the Octa either makes a real case as a cheaper, less stereotype heavy G-Wagon or an excessively expensive GX550. Either way, it's ridiculously quick, comfortable enough to daily, and has just about everything you'd need for a weekend out on the rocks, dunes, or whatever you're into. How long that suspension will go without lighting up the dash is a question for another day, but if that's your concern, I'd probably stick with your Wrangler.